All right, lesson 23, Petroleum Organization and Missions. Introduction. The Petroleum Office of the Joint Service is environmental and critical important that everybody understands the organization made for each of the services of the petroleum supply and the operation, organizational, national security, national command authority that comes with the President of the United States, the Secretary of the Defense, duly appointed with the alternatives, deputy for the move of the troop, the execute for the military to act for the directly and the national command authority. The National Security Council was established in the National Security Act of 1947 with the formally discussed and consideration of national security and the with the required of the President until the chief of the members of the National Security Council or the President, the Secretary of the State, the Secretary of Defense, the Chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, the Director of the Central Intelligence Aid, Advisor of the National Security Council, the Department of Defense, Secretary of the Defense, December 1986. The Secretary of Defense clearly has undisputed control of the Department, the position of the chain of the command is very clear with the Joint Chief of Staff. The Office of the Joint Chief of the Staff consists of the Chairman and Chief of the Staff of the Army, the Chief of the Navy, the Operation Chief of the Staff of the Air Force Command with the Marine Corps. The Chairman presides over the meeting of the staff of the agenda of the Joint Chief of the Staff. Duty to member of the Joint Chief of the Staff take of the proceeding over the duty of the Chief of the respective services. The Joint Chief of the Staff have no executive authority to command the combat forces. Combat forces are assigned a unified and specified command with those commanded with the authority. The function of the Chief of the Joint and the Chief of the Staff are furnish the strategic direction from the Army Force to prepare strategic plan to prepare the Joint logistic mobility plan to perform net assessment of the capability of the armed forces, provides preparation for the review of the contingency plan, evaluate only the critical deficiency strengths, and then enforce capability, evaluate the priorities, requirements, evaluate the program, recommendation, budget, proposal, the assess military requirement, the defense of the acquisition program, to develop the document of the joint employment, the formulate policy with the new formulating, coordinating military education, training, other functions of the Chief of the Joint Chief of the Staff are transit communication between the National Command Authority, Combat Commands, review the plan of the program, adequate facility feasibility. Function of the military service, the chief of the advise the officer with the president and the Navy National Security Council, the Secretary of Defense, chief of the respective service, each of the responsible secretary of the management of the service, the secret service, the chief of the service, the 4 year of the become vice chief of the service of the delegated authority of the chief of the most matters that have to do with the day-to-day operation of the service. The office of Joint Chief of the Staff as the Joint Staff the support of the National Security Act of 1986 for the reside side of the staff of the 1,627 of the military civil personnel allocated divided equal to the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, of the Marine Corps. The traditional takes approximately 20% of the Navy's allocation. The chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff wanted to direct the Joint Staff to assist the maintaining the staff. The Joint Staff assisted the chairman with the unified strategic direction of the combat force, the unified operations of the combat commands, integrates an efficient team of the land of the Naval Air Force staff that is organized with the directive of the manpower, personal directive of the origin, operation directive, logistic directive, strategic plan and policy directive, the command and control communication directive, the operational plan, interoperative directive, the force structure, the resource, the assessment directive, director of the information resource management, advisor of the mapping, charting, and the geospatial support with the Office of Inspector General. In addition to these, Director of the Director of the Joint Chief of Staff, support with the Defense with Intelligence Agency, supply with the Joint Chief of Staff, of the Chairman of the Intelligence Board, not the name of the Joint Staff of the organization, reporting the Secretary of Defense for the Chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, Unified Command or Command of the continuing the mission of the above of the fourth of the two or more military departments. The Chief of the Unified Command is directly responsible for the Secretary of Defense for the National NNCA with the Office of Joint Command with the communication with the chain with the command will meet with the communication with an NCA with the Unified Command with the Office of Joint Chief of the Staff of the currently 9 Unified Command the 5 of them regional responsibility 4 have the functional responsibility regional Unified Commands U.S. Atlantic Command located in Norfolk, Virginia, U.S. River Command Strugat, Germany, U.S. Southern Command Miami, Florida, U.S. Central Command Milkdale Air Force Base, U.S. Pacific Command located at Camp Smith, Hawaii Functional Command, U.S. Special Operations Command, U.S. Transportation Command, U.S. Space Command, U.S. Strategic Command. All right. Your Unified Command, Joint Chief of the Staff, each of the Unified Commands are organized essentially with the Joint Staff, with the support of the Joint Chief of the Staff. The Joint Staff is also follow the manpower to the personal division, manage the personnel, develop the personal policy, to diminish for the military civilian personnel with the command administrator of the war. Intelligence Division, J2, with the ensure the Joint Command with the sound with the intelligence on the air with the operation location, activity capability with the threat force activities made with the and the human intelligence, community counterintelligence, targeting identification, selection, and economic electronic gathering and analysis. Operating Division, J3, direct for the control of the current operations division, responsible for the initial planning, integration, coordination system of joint operations. Responsibility of the division may include the conduct with the special operations, the PSYOP, the special warfare, joint training coordination of joint exercises. Logistic Division, J4, with the developed logistic plan with coordinates, supervisors will supply with maintenance, repair, evacuation, transportation, construction related to logistic activity. The primary thrust of the joint logistic operation coordinate the several services integrate with the joint command of the joint concept of the support. J4 Division with the numerous sector for each of the functional area of the Logistics Joint Petroleum Office as part of the Unified Command. The J4 Division is responsible for the advice of the commander of all the petroleum-related plans and policy. Oversee with the Joint Petroleum Office is responsible for consolidating all of the petroleum requirements of preparing the slate. Plans and Policy Division J5 develops a long-range plan with the division prepared with the command planning concept of the operation plan with the associated commanders to estimate of the situation. Everything the command of J5 of the division there is responsible for all of the J3. Or command with the control of the communication division, J6, the develop the command responsible for the communication frequency, tactical communication, planning, examination, development, management, development of electronics, automatic information system, security, assisting the division, coordinate the support with the military, economic aid, the host of nation command and regional as responsibility for the functions, vitally important to the U.S. foreign policy. The division of the found with the J4 with the non-separate organization, interoperability division, the separate division with the J3 with the responsible joint with the planning with the ends with the execution and analysis of the development of the joint doctrine, coordinating with the joint education and training to conduct the joint training exercises. 4. Stroke the resource assessment division, plan with the program, the budgeting system, the coordinating with the budget activity between the services and the command, the Department of Defense Agency, the Department of Defense Agency, report the Secretary of Defense through the Committee, the Joint Chief of the Staff, the Defense of the Agency, Intelligence Data Defense, the Logistics Agency, Defense Marketing Agency, Defense of the Nuclear Agency, Military Communication, Electronic Board of the Department of Defense, DoD policy. The goal of the DoD bulk fuel program shall support the DoD peacetime wartime mission to permit the successful deployment and employment of the force at the minimum cost of the DoD component that will minimize the number of the bulk petroleum products stocked and distributed. Planned fuel is readily available worldwide, minimize military unique for character for the DoD fuel. The DoD components shall minimize the inventory consistent with the peacetime contingency with the need the use of military force wide worldwide. Inventories will be characterized by POS and peacetime operation support with the break. War reserves and peacetime operations the amount that are fully required to sustain peacetime operations support with the demand. The bulk petroleum war reserve system stock is located with the stock level of movement requirements, strategic lift, strategic air with the operation, civil defense requirement approved by the Undersecretary of the Defense, the logistic operation, the supporting strategic operations such as load out of ship and aircraft, the in-flight with refueling operations. Responsibility of the Department of Defense under the Secretary of Defense for the acquisition technology, each of the policy, the grant, policy, the waiver, the approval, the change, the responsibility of the management of the bulk petroleum stock facility, the provide the proper procedural guideline with the Department of Defense component, ensuring the effective implementation act of the DoD complying with the Department of Energy required with the petroleum product, review of the contingency of the bulk petroleum war reserve stock level, recommended by the Chairman and Joint Chief of Staff to establish a policy, Department under the Secretary of Defense Logistics, over the Department of Defense Central Administrator of the Energy Material Management and Integrated Material Management, oversight of the responsibility of the petroleum product, Department of Defense can patrol the corner of the USD A&T with the established financial the policy, the guidelines for the management of bulk petroleum products. Alright, your responsibility with the military, serve with the Secretary of the Military, serve with the provider of the operation, petroleum fuel, the control of the issue, the receiver, the maintenance, the cycle of the operation, location of the whole plan, program, funding of the petroleum forum, operative of the organizational maintenance of the facility, of the installation, design, funding of the construction of the petroleum facility, usually solely in the support of the military, serve with the petroleum management mission. Implement fuel standardization policy outlined within under the DoD policy, the DLA, when the secretary is assignment of the military to military construction project identified with the DLA. Department of Logistics and a military construction program provided with the base level of technician support with the DLA fund over the maintenance and repair with the construction of the military base level of petroleum facilities. Management military unique leader assigned with the bulk petroleum transport SOS can be the wartime the demand of the base and the unified command operation plan with the wartime fuel time or consumption rate, the war reserve requirement, the location they established the wartime demand profile to provide the data of the bulk petroleum war reserve system. The DLA Unified Commanders IAW perceived the outline of the DoD Manual 414025. The DoD components shall make the use of the commercial the host nation for the supply to meet the peacetime wartime requirements. Secretary of the Army should provide the management overland petroleum support to include the inland water with the issues of the land based force of the all DoD components to ensure the wartime support of the Army tactical store of the shall supplement the existing fixed facility to include host nation assets of the commercial store of the Army is responsible for the inland distribution planning of the during the wartime. The Secretary of the Navy should provide the seaward over water bulk petroleum shipment to do the higher water marking of the USC with the land base of the force of the all DoD components. The Secretary of the Air Force shall provide the distribution of bulk petroleum products by air. This to move the reserve of the situation, demanding immediate support at remote locations. The responsibility of the Chairman and Joint Chief of Staff of the Arts follow to provide an annual report of the host nation system agreements of support fuel requirement, the distribution shortfall of the state of the negotiation. U.S. Security Department, U.S. Secretary of the Defense, and would recommend a contingency war reserve stock level to the U.S. Security Department. Security Defense prescribed procedure for the reporting Department of Defense component with the petroleum planning data for the Alliance or other host nation authorities involved with the combined defense planning of the recommended chamber, the response of the other commander, unified command, the response of the unified commands, plan mans coordinate, receive, the restore of the distribution, petroleum power of the earth, feeder coordinate the directive of the DLA, plan to convert the primary alternative fuel that is neither coordinate prior to the DLA military construction project qualified maintenance of the repair project of the petroleum facilities and theater coordinate with the Department of Energy supply center with the Tagton's leasing plan with the relative related activities ensure fuel requirements, the operation constraints, the publisher and the draft and fuel annex, the operation land, the negotiation conjunct with the DLA host nations, the coordinate the development and relief that combine with the alliance of the petroleum planning. Please reallocate the bulk petroleum war reserve supplies in the emergency of the war directly direct the DLA elements of the geographical area, ensure effective operation of the storage distribution facility from appeal of the DA Chairman, Joint Chief of Staff. Approval is required for the coordinate movement of the evacuation personnel for the storage of the distribution petroleum product, acquisition, construction, maintenance, operation, disposition, petroleum facilities, associated service, provide physical security, administrative, logistics support with the DLA elements of specified inter-service support agreements. Exercise administrative direction over the DLA elements consistent with the war, in which consistent with exercise over the DoD components. Advise the directive of the DLA, the recommended chamber that dissatisfaction with the type of the adequacy responsible logistics support with the provided with the DLA unreserved issue that referred to the Chairman Joint Chief of the Staff of the resolution makes maximum the use of available talks for the adjacent theater with the support regional contingency requirements can coordinate with the quality surveillance program of the command, establish sub area of the petroleum office if necessary to provide country of the regional staff of management functions, direct tactical movement of fuel means with available to the DoD components in either theater operation, responsible for the Defense Logistics Agency. Execute the IMM responsibility bulk petroleum product responsibility under the IMM our planning program budget for the funding facility to maintain and repair with the construct of the new permanent store for the associated distribution facility design, execute the maintenance repair with the construction product that coordinates with the military store for the unified commanders planning program budget funding with the contract store for the associated services and support with the DLA bulk petroleum management mission. Negotiate conclude with the international agreement the conjunction of the unified commands to provide the bulk petroleum product additive to the laboratory testing facilities, pipelines, relative to the related services. Develop contingency support plans that can serve the unified command for the acquire the necessary for the petroleum products store for the associated services and support for the military needs. Provide technical support for the involved with the military specification when the operating need required for the other hand specified fuels. The support will be coordinated with the military technical authorities. Allocate for the bulk petroleum war reserve system and requirement of the peacetime operations service system sources. Requirement to develop the inventory management plan of action. Develop the funding of the annual quantity of the bulk petroleum war reserve system requested for annual official year. Continuously evaluate the petroleum market developed the U.S. Secretary of Defense of the Chairman Joint Chief of the Staff of the military services of the coordinates and consideration critical to peacetime wartime operation planning. Establish maintain the DFO as defensive fuel region, defensive fuel off the defensive fuel region, defensive fuel off to provide regional logistics for the defensive fuel supplies point of the worldwide defensive fuel officer, sub-regional officer to oversee the defensive fuel regions. There's four kinds of defensive fuel region. These three oversee the defensive fuel region. Defensive fuel region northeast located McGuire Air Force Base, New Jersey. Defensive force for fuel region central and located within St. Louis, Missouri. Defensive force region south located in Houston, Texas. The defensive force region south is also responsible for the Caribbean, Central America, and South America. Defensive fuel region west is located in San Pedro, California. Defensive fuel region Europe is located in Parmesan, Federal Republic of Germany. Defensive forward region, fuel region is Europe, the responsible continental Europe, the United Kingdom, Mediterranean Sea, Iceland, Scandinavia, Avors, Turkey, Africa, the rest of the country, the defensive region, defensive fuel region, Middle East, the defensive war region, Europe have three defense fuel off the defensive of Italy, NATO, and Turkey. Then some fuel region, Middle East, they located with the Jabbar, the Bahrain, resolved with Afghanistan, Pakistan, Jordan, Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Oman, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Kuwait, Yemen, Djibouti, Egypt, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Somalia, and Sudan. Defensive fuel region, Pacific located with the camp H is made with Hawaii with the responsible for the Hawaii Marines and the Philippines, Marinas, Philippines, Korean, Japan, Ryukyu Island, Taiwan, Australia, New Zealand, Thailand, Malaysia, East India, the Burma, Pacific link of the Indian Ocean, South America, Alaska, the Aleutian Islands, the defensive fuel region, Pacific has defensive fuel offices, Alaska, they're located at Elmore Air Force Base, the defensive office, Korea, located in Tagwa, Korea, defensive region, responsibility, order the fuel base, the distribution plan, authorization, transport fuel, economic means possible, monitor the defensive fuel supply plan, inventory of laboratories, inventory management plan, monitor the coordinated receive the shipment of Goku company owned in Coco and the defensive supply plan. Active as contracting officer to be accountable. Documents allow loss for the contractor operated facility. Develop quality surveillance over the DLA owned products. Submit the proposed stock rotation plans of the Defense of Energy Supply Center. Operation dormant stock. Notify the Defense of the Energy Support Center. Operative of the quality of the program. Quality of the problems that they may be affected with the supply of the operation. Should they oversee the defensive fuel region, perform the same function for the Cons defensive fuel region. In addition to the responsibility over the defensive fuel regions there are, according to the distribution plan, but they over the Joint Petroleum Officers, manager of the U.S. interest of the overseas pipelines, negotiate with the host nation, serve as the central point of contact for the DFAMs. The specific war and contingency emergency consideration, the general of the DOD policy of the apply with the during peacetime with the bulk petroleum should apply with the possible during periods of the international tension is limited with the general war. War reserve stocks will be reconstituted under the general war conditions. Wartime operating stock level after the D-Day will be maintained with a minimum level of plan needed for the planning operation commodity committees. Resupply of the quantities plus the safety level of petroleum stock held military subject to the reallocation of the Joint Chiefs Staff Unified Command. DOD responsibly included the prepare emergency plan with the developed preparedness and program of the petroleum products, natural gas, and coal, oil, electric, and power. Assistant coordinator of the Director of the Energy Industry during the national emergency to ensure domestic foreign energy supply is going to meet the military civil requirements of the national and its allied. The Department of the United States, the Deputy with the Secretary of Defense, logistical responsibilities include establish provided policy guideline with the Department of Defense, bulk petroleum logistics, reserve any conflict with the industrial allocation of bulk petroleum, and coordinate with the Department of Energy, with the FEMA, with the other federal agency, chairman, joint chief of staff, primarily responsible allocating bulk petroleum stock with military services when bulk petroleum core with the exceeding the DOD stocks, unified joint petroleum officers, submit the poll cap, the repoll with those required poll cap, give the joint chiefs of staff overview of the staff of the bulk petroleum support capability, the contingency requirements, special theater, and sub-theater, repo of the Joint Chief of the Staff, overview of the damage capable of the bulk petroleum facilities of the distribution system, allocate the emergency fuel requirements of the period D60 and to the D180, allocate bulk petroleum stock components command with the stock level that do not meet the requirements component of the command of the unified command will slate the requirements of the bulk petroleum from the D60 to D180 in 30-day increments of the Joint Petroleum Office. Alright, each of the military service will compute with the bulk petroleum war reserve stock requirements of AWD DOD 414025M, Chapter 11, the Joint Petroleum Office, the poll cap, the repoll with the data service, each for the service coordinated with the relief of the bulk petroleum war reserve system, the defense for the energy supply center, and joint petroleum offices. Operate, maintain the defensive fuel supplies points, and maintain the peace operational supply and bulk petroleum war reserves at the level of the defensive supply point under their control. The DLA and the Defense for Energy Supply Center will consolidate bulk petroleum requirements of D60 to the D180 and NTLD 35. Any requirements at the time during that can be filled with the normal contracting will be submitted to the Defense of the U.S. Secretary of Defense L for guidance for the development and plan with the guidance for the contingency operations. Or 3, develop and maintain emergency alternative plan with the Goku and the Koku, government-owned, contractor-owned defensive supply points for the owner of the Defense for the Energy Support Supply Center, contract with the provided with the guidance of the defense fuel regions. Terms and definition of theater of the geographical area with the unified with the command with the Army, Navy, the Air Force, for the Marines, conduct with the military operation, communications zone of the geographical area behind the comport for the remainder of the behind boundary combat zone of the geographical area with the forward line with the troop of the FLOT, the corps at rear of the boundary, direct support, lead supply the support they provide with the using support with the direct support units, and the provide supply with the service to customer unit with the general support with support with the direct support units and other general support units, divisional units, and assign the detached for the division, non-divisional unit, non-assigned the detached division, organization of the Army in the field of the company for first major of the unit of the command responsible for the battalion can command with the control up to 5 companies. The brigade can serve up to 5 infantry of the army battalions. The division, the largest self-supporting tactical unit of the army division, is normally composed of 3 major maneuver brigades, or field artillery brigade, an aviation brigade, and support command. Corps, the largest tactical unit in the army. The corps is generally composed of 2 or more divisions of the associated support elements. Army responsible for the plan command with the control of the whole army force of the theater. With the operation theater, army is made of the 2 or more corps of associated support elements. Alright, Army Organization, Petroleum Management, Army Energy Force, the office provide with the guidance of the directive of the nature of the Army, the issue of the directive of the forms of the structure, the responsibility of the Army activity. The organization provides interface between the Army and the Office of the Joint Chief of the Staff with the petroleum-related issue. The Army Petroleum Center with the Army Agent for the Material Command located at Harrisonburg, Pennsylvania, active with the Army Manager of the Bulk Petroleum and advise with the petroleum-related issues, conduct with the periodic inspection review of the Army requirements worldwide, provide with the information defensive energy support supply center, project man with the petroleum war logistics, serve the material developer, petroleum water equipment included will receive this order, the distribution, treatment, and surveillance of the operational stock, active the executive agent with the water petroleum issue of the Department of the Army, the support of the military and civilian contingency operations directed, provide the centralized life cycle of the management of the petroleum water logistics equipment, 75 petroleum systems, 22 water systems, 2 operational projects, supporting evaluating doctrinal concept, make it the condition of the subject of the force structure, the operational plan with the unified with the commands, Army mobility. Strategic plan force provided with the petroleum unit of the theater. Army command is responsible for the Air Force, and theater of the inland distribution bulk petroleum throughout the Air Force. AR Force of the responsibility of the theater of the Army is organized in the bulk petroleum support as follows. Petroleum Goat, TAA, COMSCOM, DISCOM, Petroleum Group. The duties include responsible for detail planning with the petroleum supply organization distribution assigned directly to the theater Army, provide for the command and control and petroleum pipeline terminating and operating petroleum battalions, majority subordinate to the Petroleum Group of the Petroleum Terminal Pipeline Operational Battalion, and Petroleum Terminal Pipeline Operation Battalion, supervise, operate with the maintained petroleum distribution facility within the theater include ports of entry, pipelines, tactical petroleum terminal, the battalions, major support in the unit of the petroleum terminal and pipeline operation company capable of the battalion operate with the central scheduling, shifting out with the coordinates, moving them with the fuel, maintain prescribed reserve, the supervised quality, supervised command, control of the 5 companies, 450 miles of pipeline, petroleum terminal type pipeline operating companies. Alright, operate, maintain the multiple product pipeline with the terminal facility that stores and distribution bulk fuels. The capable of the equipment operate with the top 90 of the miles of pipeline, except for the operated tactical petroleum terminal, just able to store 4.08 million gallons of fuel in 18 to 210,000 gallon or 650,000 gallon collapsible tanks. Each tactical petroleum terminal consists of 3 fuel modules. Each fuel module consists of 3 tanker forms. Assembly each tanker they assembled consists of 210,000 gallon tank. For the 3-year Army Command, the TACOM provides the combat support with all the units passing through the combat communication. Supporting of the 3-year Army Command over the petroleum of the QM Supply Command, the direct support of the QM Supply Company, direct support provides direct supplies, direct support supply center of the customer unit. The capabilities equivalent to 2 fuel systems supply points, 2 tank pump units, and 9 5,000 gallon tankers that receive the fuel from Petroleum Supply Company. Found with the theater level of supply with the service battalion of the theater Army Command and in cohorts the support battalion of the COMSCOP, Corps Support Command provides combat force air support with the Army and non-visual units of the Corps Air that provides general support division of the Corps Major support of the Corps Support Command of the Petroleum of the Corps Support Group. Alright, the Department of Undevelopment Theater for the Petroleum Group may be subordinate unit of the Corps Command and the Petroleum Supply Battalion provide the command with the control with the general support with Class 3 with the support with the Corps Divisional unit that can provide with the command and control up to 5 companies, the major support, and the unit of Petroleum Supply Company with the medium truck company that can be found with the communication, combat, communications, the Corps Area with the Petroleum Supply Company. Provides general support for the petroleum support for the receive, the resolve the issue for transfer, the direct support, petroleum units higher volume in the use of the theater throughout the theater, receive the fuel from the petroleum terminal operation battalion capabilities, install the operate the retrieve the 15-mile with the assault line, maintain the reserve stock with the store up to 2.64 million gallons of the fuel and 10,000, 20,000 gallon, 50,000 collapsible fabric tanks. Operates up to 12 fuel supply points and 6 forward air refueling equipment systems. Can provide limited direct to the shore from the Class 3 of the farm of the both of the theater of the corp level, the medium truck company that provides the transportation of the petroleum bulk, petroleum general support, direct support using units, capabilities, and equipment. 60 55-gallon tankers are able to line hold 450,000 gallons per day with a 75% availability with equipment that 2 trips per day to 90 mile local hauling 900,000 gallons per day with a 4 trips per day can be found in the theater of the corps level of the Petroleum Group of the Theater Army Command or Corps Communication Corps Command Divisional Support Command. Provides combat service support with the organic task unit of the division, major support unit of the DISCOM or Petroleum Our Supply Services Command with the main support battalion, the supply company of the forward support battalion, headquarters of the supply company of the aviation support battalion. Supply Services Company of the major main support battalion provided direct support for the combat services for the units of all divisions where air leaders capability equipment 1, 2 fuel system supply points 2 tank of the pump unit 3 to 4 5,000 gallon tank with capable to line hauling 255,000 gallons per day with local hauling of 500,000 gallons per day. Provide class of 3 support level of retail operation, push the fuel forward to the brigades, and even the supply with the command of the fuel support supply battalion that provide the class 1, 3, 4, and 5, and 6 was 1, 3, 4, 5, and 7 units of the time of the attached to support the maneuver brigade capabilities equipment 10 5,000 gallon tanker with the 2 pump units, tank and pump units, ability to line haul 75 gallons per day to local haul 150,000 gallons per day. It should fuel the maneuver the battalions either by the BSA of the BSA or Lodge Pack of the South with the release position in the designated areas. Headquarters and some supply company ASB or Aviation Support Company Support Battalion provides the same support of the Divisional Aviation Brigade of the Cavalry Squadron that the supply of the command of Forward Support Battalion provided the Maneuver Brigade, but except there is no Class 5 ATP. A Class 3 platoon has been a short section of the FARP section of the refueling section capabilities of the equipment 1 air mobile laboratory fuel system supply points 12 with the HMET tankers 8 advanced fare systems 3 HAMEC tank aviation refueling systems Class 3 support provided with the Class 4, 2, and 5 platoon consist platoon headquarters which provide the command with the control of the platoon that responds for the quality surveillance inventory lab control of the storage issue section which operates the fuel system supply point with the control of the issue in the bulk with the petroleum and the aviation brigade, the FARPs of the original supply section, and the brothers provide the Class 3 support with the FARPs and the operative of the aviation brigade with the cavalry squadron. The aircraft refueling section provided the air refueling support with the brigade aircraft with the fuel flow and the theater of the fuel engine with the theater of the defensive energy supply center with the brought inland with the petroleum terminal operation battalion. Or the Petroleum Supply Battalion received the fuel with the Petroleum PTO Battalion for the issue for the direct support of the Petroleum operates the Middle Truck Company with the POL permanent means the transportation bulk fuel forward with the combat communication with the Corps Air with the QM Supply Company with the direct support of the issue of the fuel and the using unit of the Division Support Air with the SS Company with the issue of the fuel of the unit of the DSA and the HSC with the ASB the issue of the fuel of the Division Aviation Brigade with the Cavalry Squadron in the brigade support of the air the supply company with the supporting the fuel and front support battalion issued the fuel of the battalion to maneuver the brigade the organization of the Navy. Or the Navy is a ship of the military sea lift command to deliver the majority of the bulk fuel over to the DoD for the beast during the combat operation, knowing that how they do so as well over the vital service the reach of the fleet with the provide Army officers with additional logistic knowledge with which they may help to prove the critical in the joint force wartime scenario. Navy Petroleum Organization overview the Second Navy Director, the guy with the Navy with the component with the DoD with the CNO, the execute with the Navy tasking. The Navy Shop develops and implements procurement and management of the Navy Stock Fund items that they repair with the ADP equipment including the petroleum product Navy Petroleum Office overview of the dual mission to secure with the Deputy Commander Navy Shop with the material management purpose of the provide the technical direction the assist with the material petroleum management program the direction assist in the fuel quality facility construction improvement the petroleum officer of the trainee programs fuel reclamation, resource, wartime petroleum requirements, determination, facility, automation, planning and administrative division, coordinate with the day-to-day administrative financial business of the Navy, responsible for the officer, once you've determined the obligated the Navy, petroleum off war reserve requirements levels. Provide management oversight of the petroleum officer trainee program, requirement divisions to coordinate with the verify of the all Navy bulk fuel into plane bunkers, oversee the post camp and station supply requirements, administer the U.S. import and Navy fuel exchange the requirements, agreements, coordinates all of them, matter of the defensive engineering supply center with the field activity relating to FAM, the operating division, if the Navy, the commodity, the management of the packaged petroleum products, provide management oversight of the Navy, the aircraft refueling program, the 27th continents location, provide the technical assistance, the air, the fuel operation quality with control of all the Navy active facility vision and focal point of the design and review of the petroleum-related project with the name of the defense fuel supply pointed worldwide. Provide management oversight of the execution, fuel facility automation, pollution control, equipment installation, provide energy to life the mid-system of the field activity fuel for the fleet. FISC arrangement receive the issue of the fuel terminal, distribute the fuel tank at the barge, and truck with the fuel at the fuser level. The ship will receive their assignment with the unified command with the fleet with the command of the commander joint task group depending on the locating of the task of the commands have their own operational logistics staff who project out the fuel provision consumption review the logistic assets available to include shore bunkering at the Augusta base facility of the military sea lift command ship, the Navy replenishment ship, the other friendly SF, the naval oilers. Revised promulgated the Warrior operational schedule, including the bull ship, the forward logistic head, for example, the Herget, Egypt, the Incolia, Turkey, the rotate assets over the mission area of the fuel transfer. C. UNREP refers to the process of replenishing the ship with the fuel of the cargo of the permanent passenger while the ship is underway. At C. There are two types of the UNREP: vertical replacement and connected replacement of the vert-trap that would refer to when the helicopter delivered the cargo to the mail of the passenger from the ship. The CONREP refer to when the ship is beside the side rigging connected lines V with the pulley transfer the fuel and the cargo, mail or passenger. Rendezvous designate the date and time, location, designate refueling base for the course of the speed of the sequence, the brigade, combat information certain of the augmented man, the line handler station, bow, top side of the stem. Gunner shooting a messenger of the line across the signaling a phone the distance line with a span wire with the rigs in the hope of the probe with one tray of the fuel delivered to the PF5 with the DFM, the sample to taken and analyzed, prompt the transfer of the commence of the reverse process of the fuel, completing the shipper at separate the depart the payment of the fuel centrally funded the document the DoD form 1149 after effect action message of the confirmed quantity of the received quantity developed and pumped fuel transaction with the foreign asset required with the DoD form 1149 for the spill prevention control measure for the Mechanicsburg of Pennsylvania for the processing. Aircraft fuel and cargo evaluation short circuit facilities refuel aircraft fixed or rotary wings. For example, the helicopter with either hydrant system truck. Most ship that have the helicopter they have several U with the extensive the ship the wharf capability to transfer cargo and passenger mail. Type of the SHE Spirit Sprite the SH3 Sea King SCH49 Sea Stallion CH60 Seahawk flight operations include the following fuel evolutions. HEIR, the helicopter will hover over the ship, the flight deck. The helicopter crew will lower the messenger along the flight deck. The refueling the personnel will tap for the refueling over the messenger type of which will return the reeled back from the aircraft. The helicopter crew will connect with one aircraft crew. Fuel receptacle with the signal of the flight deck crew with the terminal fuel flow. The fuel is coming back to the flight deck. The crew will shut off the flow. The helicopter crew will disconnect the hook and lower it back to the flight deck of the crew. Hot and cold pumps. Hot pumps mean with the aircraft the engine with the running of the wheel refueling, but cold pumps mean the engines are shut down. Aircraft pilots have two criteria to accept them: refueling, rejecting fuel, clear and bright. They have the final approval of whether they accept the reject the fuel. Additional logistics known to the carry on board delivery of the vertical on board delivery, fixed wing aircraft delivery, cargo with the aircraft care of the rest of the fleet. With the COD, the VOD, with the helicopter delivery, gives the cargo with the care of the rest of the fleet. With the VOD, something exactly the vert trap that only refers to the helicopter train for the care of the other ship. The vert trap can be performed by helicopter from any other source to any of the ship. The personnel of all services frequently transit the operational theaters this way. Airborne delivery drops off of the Navy aircraft, the PO3 Orion fly critical needed items for the ship to drop the the parachuter. Use must be justified in urgency need the side of the weight of the criteria. Origination of the Air Force. Or the Air Force is typically with the highest volume and use of the fuel in theater operation view of the understanding of how the Air Force to organize fuel that's working critically ensure the Air Force have an ample continuous supply of the fuel. Air Force Organization Chart. The headquarters of the U.S. Air Force is located at the Pentagon. Serving the headquarters of the Air Force, everything broken into two entities with the Secretary of the Air Force, the Secretary of the Staff, and the Air Staff with the lead of the Air Corps Force Chief of the Staff, Major Commands, Major Subdivision Air Force, directly supporting the headquarters of the U.S. Air Force. These contain the field staff that maintain management responsibility. Air Combat Command is located at the Langley Air Force Base, Virginia. The mission to operate with the Air Force bomb of the Communist base to combat designated fighter attacker aircraft or reconnaissance aircraft. Air Combat Command is responsible to deploy, oversee, the support warcrafting or warfighting command to maintain air survival, air defense for the Congress. Air Mobility Command located at the Scott Air Force Base in Illinois for the mission to provide the airlift, the refueling, special air mission, air medical evacuation of the U.S. forces. The Air Mobility Command supply force and theater commands to support the wartime tasking. Air Force Base with the command and located with the Princeton Air Force Base, Colorado. Mission to display with the high value payload display, variety of the expendable launchable system, provide weather of the communication, ballistic missile warning, and intelligence of the warfighter. The Air Force Support Space Command to provide the land-based ballistic missile deterrent. Air Force Special Command Operation located at the Hurlburt Field, Florida, to provide the air component of the U.S. Special Operations Command, deploying specialized air power with delivering space for the Operation Combat Support, power with the response for the conventional warfare, special command for the counter mission support with the Unified Commands. Air Force Material Command advanced and integrated with the use of the technology developed and tested, requires the sustained weapon system in form of a single manner to continue with the product with improvement throughout all the product's life. The Air Force Material Command is responsible for managing the project major product logistics and testing center. The Air Force Air Education and Training Command with the logistic Randolph, the Air Force Base to execute the recruit, the execute the commission, train with the educate the Air Force and lift and officer personnel with the Air Education and Training Command to provide the basic military training, initial advanced technical training, and the flying training with the professional military degree graduation professional education. Pacific Air Force Base located at the Hickabon Air Force Base, Hawaii, the plan with the coordinates defense for the defense air operations Pacific Asian Theater, the Pacific Air Force organized with the training and equipped with the brain team of the shore for conducting air operation. U.S. Air Force Europe, the located at the Ramstein Aipd, Germany, plans conduct control coordinated with the support air space operations, chief of the United States, the national NATO object with the U.S. European Command tasking. U.S. Air Force Europe, the support the U.S. military plan, the operation of the planet, part of the Europe and Mediterranean, Middle East, and Africa. The numbered Air Force at the level of commanding directly under the Major Command. The tactical echelon that provides operational leadership and supervision. Wings of the air level of command below the number of Air Force. Each of the wings has about 1,000, 5,000 persons. Wing may be an operational wing, an air-based wing, and a specialized mission wing. Alright, your group, the level of commands below the wing, the groups that form the functional line of the logistic operation mission support with medical, the group normally contains 2,000 people. The squadron may be the basic unit of the Air Force organization. The squadron may either be the mission unit, the operating the flying with the squadron, functional unit, the such supply with the transportation, civil engineering. Flights are internal subdivision squadrons, usually based on the functional responsibility. The example of the supply squadron flight that may be fuel management, material storage, the distribution, material management, administration. And elements of their integral subdivision of the flights that are usually required the functional airline responsibility of supervision within the flight. The Air Force Fuel Organization responsibility headquarters United States Air Force established U.S. Air Force policy for managing petroleum resource with the energy conservation matter, validate major command generated war fuel time requirements, develop the petroleum budget estimates, accomplish other regional financial commanding with the major command responsible for the major command, reviews and validate the fuel vehicle with the equipment authorization. Consolidate, validate, submit both pieces in wartime fuel with the principal propellant and requirement of the defensive energy support center. Develop the fuel support plan with the support wartime task and the director of Air Force Airspace Field and the San Antonio Air Logistics Center. Operate with the Air Force laboratories, oversee with the quality control process for the Air Force bases. Provide technical guidance for the petroleum technical assistance team that process the fuel transaction between the fuel division, defensive business operation fund. Base fuel management, flight with responsible to base level to receive the storage quality distribution issue with the aviation ground and the fuel they receive with the storage and cryogenic list and flight and demand according with the core with the strength of up to 75% of the typical base adjusted with additional personnel with varying mission. Flight and management by a 2-person team that normally consisting of the company grade officer and the senior non-commissioned officer, E8 or E9 typical flew flights and organized taskers follow the fuel management team that responsible over all management of the flight. Specific responsibility include the budget and funding equipping the supply flighting operation develop base fuel with the supporting planes that equal and ensure the required minimum fuel inventory levels to maintain the operation and technical with the order to comply with the fuel handling and servicing operation. To the quality control inspection element, the eyes and ear of the fuel management team that performs internal quality control and inspection of the flight operation that provides a detailed report of the fuel management team that operates the base for the fuel laboratory, maintaining the fuel sampling testing program, the operation elements, conserve the three air of the fuel store, the fuel distribution, and the fuel control center, the responsible physical receipt of the storage and the issue with all the fuels and cryogenic products. Fuel accounting and administrative element with the responsibility inputting and all fuels received with the issue with the transfer of the fuel accounting system that maintains accountability of the fuel inventory, prepare to maintain all formal corresponding reports and publication. Fuel support element responsible for the internal technical and ancillary training program, material control flights and mobility program, refueling operations. Air Force refueling operations could be performed either through the U.S. hydrant system alongside with the refueling operation. The hydrant system is simply with a system of pump and pipe that prevail with the UV to conduct the refueling operation in the airfield alongside with the refueling and the refueling operation conducted using tank vehicle with the Air Force required with 85% of the fuel that is shifted to the hydrant system, the 85% of the aircraft being refueled by the hydrant system. Use the hydrant system is safe the most efficient method of refueling aircraft at the airfield. The base fuel management flight provided the equipment of the personnel to conduct the refueling operation. The airbase for the operation 24 hours a day, 3 with 8-hour shift of the flash fuel management flight normally with a 30-minute response time from the time of the notification refueling to refueling operation of the operating to begin with the base for the priority of the operations. So there are 7 types of refueling operation conducted by the Air Force. The hot and rapid refuel with the aircraft, the refuel while one or more engines are running. Hot and rapid defuel with the fuel is pumped out of the aircraft while one or more of the engines are running. The keeping the engine running allow with the fuel transfer pump to pump. Aircraft to the speed with the defuel profit. The integrated combat turnaround you with the recover the realigns for the aircraft with the minimum amount of time. The integrated combat turnaround involved with the simultaneously performing refueling ammunition loading of the specified maintenance function that makes the process similar to the Army Force procedure. The integrated combat turnaround were formerly reserved in emergency combat conditions both but are conducted as a routine operation of the airbase. Hot integrated combat turnaround and integrated combat turnaround conduct the one with the engine running. Hot integrated combat turnaround or reserve the combat operation combat training authorized by the Major multi-service refueling large aircraft such as the C-5, C-141, KC-10 require much larger amount of fuel, often refuel for multiple services, sort of the hydrogen system refueling vehicle, the servicing refueling vehicles. Current servicing refueling operations conducted either with a passenger on board or in conjunction with the maintenance function. The TAB VE infill shelter refueling operation conducted the hardened altar and the shelters authority of the cab. The DVE operation granted local commanders must be accomplished through the hydrant system. Navy Reserve capability of the Navy ELS headquarters at Chetamine Annex, Williamsburg, Virginia, man with the primarily reserved of the command with the title in flight with the provide logistics support with the cargo handling support with the receive the fuel support with the expeditionary forces. The ELSF fuel mission for the is met with the ABFZ with the tanker farm unit. The ELS as the intended 22 for the person unit. Each for the units compromised the lieutenant commander, CEO, the lieutenant XO for the chief battery officer, equivalent NCOIC with the 19 enlisted personnel primarily from the Navy Construction Battalion or CB Engineering, especially the Air Force ABFZ with the units are trained with the support of the immobilized the response with the Navy, the expenditure often ensure the fuel support with the other the support of the non-available are adequate. The ABFC with the tanker forming unit with the two mission for the augment fixed facility and to establish operate the tactical fuel facilities. ABFC with the unit required to attend the 6th day with the course to conduct with the U.S. Army Quartermaster Central School for Fort Lee, Virginia. This course extended full 10 days to incorporate the unit proficiency certification, which each unit is required to complete every 4 hours. And that's your last lesson for your petroleum operations and applications, of course, QM 5200 edition A.